Okay, we're going to get started as soon as the video is on. And is the phone?
Yes.
Excellent.
Phone and broadcast are on.
Great. Okay, we're on. Good evening. I would like to call to order the May 23, 2022 Lake Washington School Board meeting. Let the record reflect that all board members, except for Director Bleasner, who is excused, are present and in person. Under the guidelines for attending board meetings, there remains a prohibition on in-person meetings, but there is an exemption for public meetings that can comply with the guidelines for miscellaneous venues found in the business, let me try that one again. Guidelines for business meetings found, you think I would have it after reading it so many times. The guideline for business meetings found in miscellaneous venues guidance. That guidance allows public agencies to opt to host in-person meetings with no restrictions on capacity, no physical distancing requirements, but all applicable and now modified face covering requirements must be followed. And that proclamation 20-28, which went into effect 2 years ago, sunsets at the end of this month. The board values public participation and engagement in our meetings. The board will continue to comply with all laws related to open public meetings and all emergency requirements related to miscellaneous venues. The board will notify the public of the location of its meetings through the meeting tab on board docs. In addition, board meetings will continue to be live streamed on the district's website. If community members are unable to live stream the meeting, you may call to listen, and that is 425-936-2813. Conference ID 37127. You're also welcome to email any individual board member at boardmembers@lwsd.org. Okay, I will now entertain a motion to approve the May 23, 2022 agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Director Carlson, seconded by Director Stewart, that we approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. We dedicate 30 minutes at these meetings to hear from the public during a public comment period. With the return to in-person meetings, we have updated the process to sign up for public comment. If you'd like to do so, please go to the district's website, www.lwsd.org/board/public comments to sign up to participate in public comments. Please do so by noon on the date of the board meeting. Comments will be offered in the order of sign up, beginning with speakers in person, and followed by virtual, and concluding with any written comments as time allows. Okay, we have 2 folks signed up for virtual public comment tonight. Have they both been able to join us?
We only have Tara here.
Okay. First, we have Ms. Belfield. I can message her. Tara, can you hear me? Hold on.
No, you can.
Okay.
No, you can.
Okay. Tara, if you can hear us, it's your turn.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Thanks for having us again this evening. Again, my name is Tara Belfield. I work as a school psychologist in the district, and I'm also an Emerson Daycare parent. And on behalf of the Emerson Daycare families, district staff, and community members, I appreciate the time this evening to share public comment this evening, perhaps for the last time this school year. Just 2 weeks ago, several of us spoke at the board meeting about the proposed tuition increase for the Emerson Daycare program. We specifically want to thank the board members who highlighted the policies regarding communication and engagement with the community, as we too have advocated all along for collaboration, timely communication, and transparency regarding this program. Following the school board meeting on May 9th, the Emerson Daycare community received an email last week Wednesday from Ms. Teresa Harding, EA, to the superintendent, outlining a new tuition proposal. We acknowledge the time that the school board dedicated to reviewing the operational costs of this program in order to create a new tuition structure that you will vote on this evening. As we move forward, we will continue to support our leadership to uphold their commitment of a cost-neutral program, which will allow the daycare to thrive. The Emerson Daycare is not just a childcare, but an essential program that removes systemic barriers for teen parents in our community. For the 3 teen parents who have toured the program or spoken to their high school counselor about accessing the daycare for their children for the following school year, we are grateful that this program will be available to them. Our efforts have never been simply about preserving a daycare, but rather about providing an opportunity for all students, including teen parents, to graduate prepared to lead a rewarding, responsible life as a contributing member of the community. A program such as Emerson could not exist without its community, and we are grateful for the work invested by both the community and the school district to preserve this program. And moreover, moving forward, we remain committed to working together to ensure that this program remains a viable option for teen parents for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tori Jesse. I think she was able to just join us.
Hi, I'm Tori Jesse, and I would like to talk about the Emerson Daycare as well. With the financial goal being for the daycare to become cost neutral. However, the documentation still references market rates, which is seemingly a contradiction. So with that cost neutrality as a goal, will the documentation be updated to reflect that sort of goal rather than using the verbiage of market rates, which is a completely different financial goal altogether? And with, in that goal, we should be looking at other schools around the country that have created self-sustaining in-school daycares rather than using comparable market rates. One such school is in Washington, D.C., that has created successfully a self-sustaining in-school daycare, and its monthly rate is 69% of the surrounding market rate, which happens to be one of the highest in the country. So very comparable to our area. So thank you. I just wanted to point that out, and I hope that that was just a mistake and that that will be updated before the vote takes place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. Next, we have received one written public comment from Josalanda Gracian, and I will read that aloud. She wrote, I would like transparency on the reasons why Emerson Daycare Program cost is increasing. Are there grants available that could fund this program? That was the comment we received. Okay, that is the end of the public comment that we received for the meeting tonight. Thank you for everyone who took time to join us tonight virtually or to provide written public comment. The written public comment we want to recognize is also part of our meeting packet and will be available on the district's website. Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval of the May 23, 2022 consent agenda. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I have a question.
Oh, hold on. Was there a motion?
Yeah.
What's that?
Director Stewart moved. I seconded.
No, I didn't move.
Oh, you didn't move? Oh.
I said I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Okay.
Sure. What's the question?
If the copy hasn't been updated in the Emerson from cost neutral, both references to cost neutral, can that editorial change be made? Because in the second reference you have market rates.
Who's the question, Director?
Well, I guess either John or you. Take your pick. It seems to me that if we're going cost neutral in one paragraph, it'd be cost neutral in the following paragraph.
So when we did our study of local daycare costs. We look, I mean, is what a market study is just looking at the local market. The goal of the program is not to exceed a cost-neutral basis. And so that if the language makes it seem like that, that is not the intent of the overall program.
I assumed it was just merely the idea that you updated the charts and the copy really just didn't follow. That happens.
Even previous to this, the intent was not to create a program that was creating revenue for the district.
Well, could we have, could you accept an editorial change then without having to pull that?
So the consent agenda item tonight is approved is for the rates for, the Emerson item is for the rates for this coming year, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
What about the term? The correction of the term? Otherwise, I want to have it.
Are there any, are there any board members who wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda?
I do.
To be discussed individually? Okay, is there, under our policies to remove an item from the consent agenda, it requires a second essentially from another board member. Is there anyone else who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Going once, going twice. Okay. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Director Carlson, seconded by Director Choi, that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Dr. Holman, will you please poll the board?
Director Carlson,
Yes.
Director Choi,
Yes.
Vice President Stewart,
No.
President La Liberty.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the non-consent agenda, and it is a 2021-2022 general fund budget extension. Dr. Holman, can you please get us started?
Absolutely. And so from time to time, as we move through our school year, working with our budget, we need to come to the board to seek approval for additional budget authority. At times, we receive additional grant funds. Revenue is greater than anticipated. And so to have the capacity to be able to use those funds is when a budget extension is required. So I'm going to invite Director of Business Services, Chris Brennigan, and Associate Superintendent of Business and Support Services, Barbara Posthumus, to the microphone so that they can walk us through the general fund budget extension process.
Hello, we have shared with the board in previous study sessions that due to the increased in pandemic costs beyond that were not part of our original budget. In addition, we have a couple of grant programs that, again, we're receiving revenue, which will also require increased expenditures. That requires us to increase our authority. The district is limited to how much budget we can only spend what the district has adopted in a budget, regardless of how much in revenues that we have or resources we have. And so a budget extension process, we go through and we modify our budget inputs, and you have the attachment there. And we're required to hold a public hearing. We've posted that in the newspaper, and so we'll be holding a public hearing tonight and ask for your approval. I'll have Chris just talk through the specific changes related to grants. And sorry, I stepped away from the mic. Go ahead, Chris. If you want to talk through just.
So some of the grants that weren't originally in the budget include the Safety Net ARP grant, which is like ESSER funds, but for special education. There's ESSER grants that we didn't fully budget in 21-22. We initially had planned to split that up in over 2 years, and so that's being captured in the additional grants. We also have a DOH grant for about $1 million that we got this year that we didn't know about when we set the budget. The ECF grant is the Emergency Communications Fund. That's to purchase laptops for staff and students. That's about $3.6 million. And then the safety net application again this year is coming in higher than what we budgeted, and so there's about another $4 million for safety net. So in all, we've got a budget increase in revenues of $7.9 million, and we've identified a total of $19.1 in expenditures.
Great. Okay, so at this time, I will open the public hearing for the 2021-2022 General Fund Budget Extension. State statute requires the board to hold a public hearing and adopt the budget extension by resolution. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on this topic? Okay, seeing no one has come forward, the public hearing is now closed. At this time, the board will take action to adopt Resolution 2336 to increase the 2021-2022 general fund appropriation amount from, let's make sure I get this right, $501,362,207 to $520,462,207. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Carlson, seconded by Director Choi, that the board adopt resolution number 2336 to increase the 2021-2022 general fund appropriation amount from $501,362,207 to $520,462,207. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is a facilities update. Dr. Holman, can you please kick us off?
Yeah, a few times during the year, we bring a facilities update to the board regarding the various projects, construction and otherwise that are occurring across the district. And so tonight, appreciate Executive Director of Support Services, Brian Buck, being here to present this. Also want to comment on the updated presentation that you'll see tonight. There's some new visuals that the team has been working on. I think they come across very nice and provide some good information. They're also located on our website for the community to access as well. And so with that, Brian, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, thanks for having me. So this is Kirk Elementary. It's our title slide here. We're going to talk today about our 2016 bond and our 2019 and 2022 construction levies, and we'll touch quickly on our capital projects levy for 2018 and 2022. This is our map, our standard map for our program. Some highlights from our construction bond program. All projects completed under budget. All projects except the old Redmond Schoolhouse opened on time. We're in permit closeout with the city of Redmond for Barton and Juanita High School's project closeout. Those will both happen in the summer of 2022. And as a result of this bond, 3 new schools added to our district community. Completed in 2020. On the top left is the old Redmond Schoolhouse, the Early Learning Center at the old Redmond Schoolhouse, along with Phase 2 of Juanita High School. And down below are the ancillary field and field house projects at Juanita, which were completed in 2021. Completed in 2017 is Explorer Elementary on the top right, with Barton and Baker completing in 2018. And then the bottom row, Kirk Elementary, Meade Elementary, and Timberline Middle School completed in 2019. So the bond program had $450 million in total revenue. Total program expenditures of $430 million. $21 million was spent in part on a purchase of property, and $7 million remain for property and for future capital needs. So our 2019 construction levy is critical capacity at the elementary school and at the high school level. This is just a highlight. We're in construction with the classroom addition at Carson and core expansions at Twain, Rose Hill, and Franklin Elementary. And we are in permit design for Carson Elementary for a core expansion. The Lake Washington High School, as you can see on the bottom left, is a visual of our classroom addition, which was completed in 2020. In the bottom middle is our high school entry modification, and bottom right is an exterior picture of our beautiful commons, which the commons expansion was the extension of the mezzanine inside. And top left is the completed in 2021 is the new gym addition. We mentioned the classroom additions at Ben Franklin on the top left. These were completed in the fall of 2021. So 8 classrooms at Ben Franklin, 4 classrooms in the middle there at Mark Twain, and 8 classrooms at Rose Hill Elementary. Under construction right now on the left at Franklin Elementary, and in the middle, a gym addition at Mark Twain Elementary. And the right there is Rose Hill Elementary, which is a commons expansion, all to open in the fall of 2022. The classroom addition at Carson is a 4 classroom addition. It's under construction now and planned occupancy on schedule for 2022 in the fall. Here's just kind of a rendering of the core expansion from the exterior for Carson Elementary. This is a covered entrance and vestibule along with additional storage. It's about 2,000 square feet. It adds 64 seats into the commons and planned occupancy in the fall of 2023. So the 2019 construction levy has $152 million in total revenue, with $139 million estimated. In expenditures, we're currently at $110 million expended. $13 million remain reserved for property and future capital needs. For our 2022 construction levy, we have the middle school additions at Finn Hill Elementary. Finn Hill Middle School, Kirkland Middle School, and Redmond Middle School. Our architect selections are complete. We went through GCCM contractor interviews and pricing last week, and so procurement is pending. School construction input team meetings started in April, and we meet twice a month until June. Planned occupancy for these projects is the fall of 2024. For the additional high school capacity on the east side, our architect selection is complete. We expect GCCM procurement to happen in late summer and early fall. We're currently in early code review with the City of Sammamish with planned occupancy in 2025. The new elementary school on the Redmond Elementary campus is in pre-design. We submitted last week our application for alternative procurement, which is progressive design build. And we have our interview with the PRC scheduled in June, and planned occupancy for this is the fall of 2025. The additional high school capacity on the west side, we're currently in pre-design. This is planned for occupancy in 2027. So just to highlight our 2018 facilities capital projects levy, this map shows across the district the completed and proposed projects. And I won't read all these, but the summer 2022 highlights are kind of listed there. These projects, all completed projects by site, the detail is on our website, on the construction page of our website. Just to highlight a couple here is we're starting our aquatic center upgrades at Juanita High School, which includes a roof upgrade across the whole field house. In addition, we have a large traffic improvement project at Juanita Elementary School. Our 2022 capital projects levy, this shows the planned projects across the district. Some highlights in our 2023. These are planned for 2023. I think it's important to note that we don't begin collecting revenues on this levy until the spring of 2023. And just one project of note is our district-wide implementation of water bottle filling stations. We'll begin that implementation in 2023. And this is a thank you to voters. This is our wonderful metal mix at Kirk Elementary School. So any questions?
Director Carlson?
So on the 2022 construction levy, the additional high school capacity east side and west side, you didn't specify which sites. I assume that it's at Lake Washington and East Lake, but
Yeah, I didn't hear you quite, but I think you said, do we have sites for the?
yeah, if you
Yeah,
got planned
so-
occupancy in 2025, I'm assuming you know which.
Yeah, so currently, on the east side, we have property, undeveloped property in Sammamish, inside the Sammamish Town Center, and it's located currently right in front of Eastside Catholic High School. And for the west side,
And- sorry.
currently, we don't.
So East Side Catholic, so that's next to or adjacent to East Side, or
Correct,
East Lake.
yeah, it's between East Lake and Skyline,
Yeah.
directly in front of
Sorry,
Eastside
that's,
Catholic.
it's not like it's a new high school, it's connected to that. Anyway, thank you.
Yep.
And on the west side?
On the west side, we haven't selected a site yet. We don't have currently undeveloped property, but we do have underdeveloped property at Kamayakan Middle School, which is a potential site there.
And that's the additional high school capacity?
Yeah.
Kamayakan not being connected to any of our high schools?
Yeah, it would be like a choice
Okay.
school or a
So,
smaller
All right.
high school.
Dr. Holman and then Director Stewart.
I was just going to say, this is the additional capacity as we're planning towards a fifth comprehensive high school. It's kind of that, for the east side, it's that bridge. We have a capacity issue today, and so it's that bridge space. And then as we think about the fifth comprehensive high school, we know that that capacity will be no longer needed at the high school level. So the space they're designing also has a significant degree of flexibility in it so that we can shift and use it for other purposes as well.
Thank you, that's what I was missing.
Director Stewart?
But as a matter of clarification, though, the east side project for East Lake, the buildings are not contiguous. It's like 1.5 to 2 miles between them.
Yeah, it's just down around the corner, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a mile at the most.
Give or
yeah.
take, give or take.
Yeah.
I have a very in the weeds question, but the project for the summer at Juanita Elementary School, the traffic improvement project, could you remind me of what that is?
Sure. We're adding parking to the west of the current parking lot. There's 2 different entrances and
Right,
loops
right.
at Juanita Elementary. We're going to connect the furthest west loop with a new parking lot and extend the loop and add parking.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, thanks.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a overview of the capital facilities plan. Dr. Holman, could you start us off?
Absolutely. So annually, we bring an update to our capital facility plan. It is the part of a process that allows us to be a part of and collect school impact fees. And so in board briefs, we provided the board with information around some of the updates and changes in the 6-year capital facility plan. Tonight is the formal presentation to the board around the capital facility plan, with action being proposed for the June 6th board meeting. Tonight to present is Associate Superintendent Barbara Postumus.
evening. I'm going to review, a lot of this is for those of you that have been here before. You've seen this presentation, just with some numbers changed. So I'm going to go through kind of the history of why we have a capital facility plan and what's the process for updating it. So, and we'll go over the development and approval process as well. So the history, school districts are required to complete a 6-year capital facility plan annually to establish a basis for school impact fees. And impact fees are those fees collected from developers for housing impacts to help us with capacity. And there's numerous components that go into the plan that drive the fee calculation. And so impact fees are assessed by our local jurisdictions, so City of Redmond, City of Kirkland, City of Sammamish, and King County against new development projects. They're not intended, they've been in place since the mid-90s. They're not intended to pay for 100% cost of new facilities, but they're intended to provide a portion of the costs incurred to serve development. So it's a shared cost between the local taxpayers and developers. You can only use the impact fees to fund facilities associated with new development, so we use them again they've been used in the last 5 years to offset our bond project costs. We use them for portable costs, again, anything necessary to provide capacity for our students. As I mentioned, they're collected through our cities and counties. They're based on the expected impact of each new housing unit, and they must be spent within 10 years of collection, which we have not had an issue doing. The key drivers are the number of students expected from each single-family or multifamily housing unit, and we use a 5-year history. We track all of the developments in our district and track a 5-year, track the history of how many students come out of those developments. The formula also includes expected construction costs of the new facilities needed and the non-impact fee revenues such as bond revenues and state match is also part of that. And then again, this fee was developed in conjunction with developers and our jurisdictions and school districts, and the formula includes a 50% reduction percentage that's applied to the fee calculation. So the calculation, you determine a per student cost of construction by each level, elementary, middle, and high, and then you take the average number of students generated from each housing unit, and that goes into the formula to generate the construction cost per student and the impact. They're done at each level, as I mentioned. The cost per housing unit is reduced by state construction funding and expected property taxes, and then it's reduced again by 50%. So this is a history of the fees that we've collected over the last, 5 years. They do fluctuate. You can see our high year was the 17-18 school year, where we collected $7.2 million from our 4 jurisdictions. Just the last year, we collected $4.4 million, so about $25 million over 5 years. Again, not enough to build a new building, but does provide a portion of those costs. So again, just some highlights for this year's plan. We updated the narrative with our Building Excellent Plan projects. Last year, we hadn't finalized what was going to be on our 2022 construction levy, so we updated that information. Every year, we update the construction costs, but we updated the projects based on the Building Excellence Plan and which projects would we build within the 6-year window. We moved the site acquisition cost. Last year, we had in the 6-year window, we had a future new elementary school, and that's where we put the land costs, because we anticipated purchasing property and needing to build a new elementary school. Again, TBD, to be determined location. We moved that land acquisition cost to the high school, as the comprehensive high school is within the 6-year window, and we did purchase land, the Park 188 property. And then due to COVID enrollment related disruption, we're continuing to use the 2020 student generation rates. So key drivers, as I mentioned, the student generation rate is the primary driver. The student generation rate remains the same. The capital bond rate, however, has decreased because we have less bonds. So the decrease reduces the tax credit, which drives up the fee slightly. And so our formula-driven calculations, the impact fees for single family actually decreased slightly, $387. That's a 2% reduction. And then our multifamily fee increases about $76 or 2.2%. And we still have one of the lowest multifamily impact fees of all the King County districts, and I'll show that on the next slide. So the left chart is the single family ranges for the King County districts. You can see that we are second from the top there, and then our multifamily fee is kind of lower at the lower end. Again, and that's primarily driven by this number of students that come out of our multifamily housing developments right now. So if that should increase, for example, Issaquah has a much higher student generation rate from their multifamily developments, and so that's why their fee is higher than ours. So the development process is each year Brian Buck and his team, along with the finance office, prepare the capital facility plan. We have to put a notification out 2 weeks before the board meeting, and we publish a SEPA notice. We send the draft notice to the county and to our cities for review and comment. Then King County has a technical review committee, or we're submitting the draft to this technical review committee. That's also due on May 12th. Then each district takes board action at the beginning of June on the capital facility plan. And then that final plan is sent to the state and the county and the cities. And then King County comes together, all the districts in King County come together on June 8th. So Brian Buck will go to the King County Regional Council meeting and present our capital facility plan, and they review and consider and adopt later in the fall. And then each local jurisdiction, so each of our cities then adopt the fees as part of their approval typically in October and November, and their councils have to put those fees along with their other fees as part of their approval process, and then the fees go into effect the next January. So the fees that this capital facility plan that you'll take action on June 6th, those fees will actually go into effect January 1 of 23. And that is the end of my presentation.
Great.
Any questions?
Dr. Choi?
Thank you, Barbara. I had a couple just clarifying questions. And the formula for when you were calculating impact fees, it had part of the formula was, I think, projected construction cost. Do you look at, I think it was actually construction cost. Do you look at the current construction costs, or do you forecast out?
We actually use the most recent project, so an elementary project, a middle school project, and a high school project, and then we use a 5% inflation factor, and then that's what drives the cost.
Okay.
So it's based on actual known costs, and then it's inflated to current year amounts.
Okay.
So,
And then my other question was, you were talking about the 2020 student generation rates. Is that enrollment rate?
is that enrollment rate? Yeah, what it is we take each development and we determine the number of students that live in that development, and then that calculates what we call a student generation rate. So it's number of homes or units of apartments divided by the number of elementary students, number of middle school students, and number of high school students. That determines the student generation rate. And then all of the developments that have been occupied in the last 5 years are put on a list, and then that average is determined, and that's what we use, that's what districts use as their student generation rate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah?
Any other questions from the board tonight? Okay, there is no board action required in this meeting for tonight. It will be presented for board approval on June 6th. Thank you.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the B word, new development boundary recommendation. Dr. Holman.
So tonight, we bring a recommendation to the board regarding some shifts in school attendance boundaries. One of the things that we consistently do is look at the various construction projects that are occurring across the district. And when we see a specific project that is right on the boundary or that's straddling a boundary, we try and take action on where that neighborhood should go to school prior to it becoming lived in by community, because one of the commitments we have is that if we're going to change attendance boundaries on current families, that we're going to go through a process, make sure we hear the voices of those that are affected by that. And so there's a number of different projects that we've been following, and tonight in your board packet you have a recommendation. Again, Associate Superintendent Barbara Posthumus will walk through a presentation to show you the specific projects that we're talking about, the recommendations for school assignment, and then this will be on the board's agenda on June 6th for action.
Okay, thank you. All right, so again, this is really a boundary process relating to developments, and so really the purpose tonight is we have new developments that are being planned within the districts. As Dr. Holman said, they border or straddle current boundary lines. We have some schools that are over capacity and so do not have room for the students that the development would generate. And we also, again, have boundary lines that need to be drawn around the development. And so they need to be updated to accommodate the development. And the key message here is no current students are affected by these recommended changes because no one is occupying these developments at this time. So we have an administrative policy 3110. The superintendent shall recommend attendance area configurations to the board of directors. So the three new developments that we are looking at as part of this recommendation, we're tracking over 100 new developments within our district with different occupancy plans, build-out plans. Again, specifically 3 developments that are nearing completion require boundary adjustments. And so I'll be talking about 3 developments. 2 are in kind of the Rose Hill area, which is the Bloom Apartments. That's on 85th and 132nd, 135 units. That will be occupied, anticipated in February. Woodside, which is in Northeast 68th Way and 188th Avenue Northeast. That is near south of our Park 188 property in Redmond. Again, that's 118 townhomes, 52 condominiums coming this fall. And then Proctor Willows, which is on Northeast 124th and Willows Road, 170 townhomes and 195 apartments, anticipated beginning to occupy in the spring of '23. Okay, so this is just a Kroll map of our current attendance boundaries. And I'm going to show you a different map of that Flow Analytics, our demographer, put together of the three development areas that we are referring to and where they are on the map. Again, the boxes are small, so we've tried to put red arrows so you can kind of see. The very first one, Continental Divide, is that top box. Sorry, I'm even confusing myself. The Continental Divide is straight to your right in the Rose Hill area. That's the number 1 box. Woodside is the number 2 box, and that's also directly to the right in the Redmond area, in that blue-green area. And then Proctor Willows is on Willows Road, and that is the topmost box, number 3 box. And again, I'll go over these in detail. So we'll first talk about the Bloom Apartments. That's the 135 units on 85th in the Rose Hill area. And because it's a multifamily development, we typically see about a 10%, a little less than 10% elementary student generation rate. So it's only projected to have 11 students. That said, right now it is in the Twain attendance area, and if you look, Twain is projected, the enrollment projection column is not this fall's enrollment, but really a projection for the next 5 years. And so, because we wanted to look ahead to where we think their projection is, given all the other developments that are happening within their boundary. So Twain right now has a permanent capacity of 531 students. They do have portables on site, but given their permanent capacity, they are over their permanent capacity by about 194 students. Rose Hill Elementary is projected to have 500 students in the next 5 years. We just put in a 8-classroom addition on Rose Hill Elementary, so their permanent capacity is 622 students. So they have, they're under capacity by about 122 students. So our recommendation right now, and in all of these, we've worked with transportation, we've talked with the school administration, so transportation can transport, easily access this development, and so we are recommending that the attendance area is Rose Hill Elementary. So again, you can see the map on the right, that is what the green would be the recommended Rose Hill boundary. Okay, the next development is the Woodside development, and that is the one that is just south of our property in Park 188, and is just north of some other housing developments in that area. And so there's, again, 118 townhomes, 52 condominiums. We believe this will generate 45 to 80 students because townhomes typically generate more than apartments. Alcott currently has capacity challenges. Again, their permanent capacity is 483 students. They do have portables on campus, but given their enrollment projections of 600, their permanent capacity, they're over 100 by 117 students. Dickinson, on the other hand, is projected to have 300 students enrolled. They have a capacity of 369, so they're under by about 69 students. They also have additional 4 portables in addition to this. So we are recommending, again, the current attendance area, when you look on the Kroll map, it really is kind of divided between Alcott and Dickinson. So we're recommending this be put in the Dickinson attendance area. And then the third one is the Proctor Willows development. This is on Willows and 124th, and this is an interesting development because it is it's really a business area. Willows has been primarily a business area, and this will be the first kind of housing development within this business corridor. So again, they're planning on building 170 townhomes, 195 apartments. There's again, the projection anywhere from 60 to 100 students are projected from this development. We looked at a lot of options here. Twain, again, this is another one where the boundary line went kind of right through Rose Hill and Twain in the corner. They all met, and so Twain, as we mentioned before, is over capacity by almost 200 students. Rose Hill, where we just put the addition on, has capacity. Muir, which isn't listed here, that's the area in pink, is at capacity as well, and it's in a different learning community. We did consider Barton, but it's in a different high school feeder pattern, and it would move the secondary students to Redmond feeder, and Redmond High and Redmond Middle School are over capacity, because Barton is directly to the east of this. If you continue on 124th, there's access to Barton. But ultimately, because of the capacity issues and because of the large development, the recommendation is to ensure that this boundary is within, the lines are drawn, so this remains within the Rose Hill attendance area. However, we do want to continue to monitor this development. And so if students generated are higher than what typical levels are, we may need to continue to look at how we draw this boundary. And the townhomes, I think the townhomes are coming first, and then the apartments are coming after that. And so that's the other piece, is looking at, keeping track of that.
So
Let's see, and go ahead.
the other two, there was a clear region that was being shifted from one attendance area to the other. This map doesn't tell me that anything is changing.
So, yeah, thank you for that question. So in each of these, this does not change. This development has always been planned in Rose Hill Elementary, and so it remains in Rose Hill Elementary. We're just cleaning up the boundary line around the development. So it will stay in the Rose Hill Middle feeder and Lake Washington High School feeder pattern. Is that,
I was just looking, if you go back a slide,
Yep.
there's a section where the color doesn't correspond to the dark boundary line.
okay.
On
so-
that one, there isn't. So these two,
So-
I understand where you're asking to change.
Yep, so this one, the development is currently, the purple area is the
Right.
Twain Elementary boundary.
I understand this one. Explain the third one to me.
You want this
Not
is
this
your
one.
question?
I understand that one. This one doesn't have any color that doesn't correspond to the dark lines.
Yeah,
what's
so I
changing?
think, so this is the map from Flow Analytics, and essentially in their area, this was already in Rose Hill, and we're just confirming that it stays in Rose Hill. I think on our Kroll map, there was a little bit of a line challenge with this one. So we want to be transparent, and we're confirming that this is staying in Rose Hill Elementary. Does that make sense? So the black line is how Flow Analytic has our boundary line in their system.
So on the Kroll map,
And I can go back and, so in the Kroll map, I gotta find my pointer here.
Like there may be a small section in that map that,
Right, since it's Willows and there were no houses in the area, they drew a random curve.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is where, I've got my laser pointer here in the Kroll map. This is exactly where the development is, and you see how the
Right.
Twain and Rose Hill boundary.
It didn't matter quite where you put it. It's just,
Comes right
that's not the
through
one
it.
that's overlaid by the new boundary, and that's why I was very confused, because you
Yep.
were asking for a change that did not look
Yeah.
like a change.
But in our long-term planning, we've always had this development in the Rose Hill boundary area.
I'm just saying, if you want to show me a boundary change, please show me a change next time. The other two made sense. The third was
Okay.
very confusing to me, and
All right. I got it. All right. So, so just final, again, repeating the map for the recommendations, and then our next steps is, again, we're presenting this tonight. We also have the current and proposed boundaries posted on the website. We will ask the board to take action at the next meeting. And while we have already communicated with the principal, the administrators in each of these schools, so they're aware of, what we're sharing with you tonight, and we will, once the board takes action, then we will re-communicate with the developers so they can make sure their marketing materials are accurate as far as where they're, where the students are expected to go to school once the occupancy occurs.
Okay, so a more specific question, on the Continental Divide apartments, those are going to be north of 85th, which if you're making 10, and it's within a mile of Rose Hill Elementary, are we asking elementary students to cross 85th during rush hour? Or are we going to be providing a bus that happens to be coming down past them to pick them up?
Yeah, those students will be bused, and we have already worked with transportation on that.
Okay.
And I believe they would have been bused to Twain as well.
Oh, they would have been bused to Twain. Twain's more than a
Yeah, I
mile away.
believe-
They're
I
within a
will-
mile of Rose Hill, I
yeah.
guarantee you.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you. It's nice. I guess I have a question. I don't recall us having this process for new developments before, or if at least it was, if we did, I don't recall it. Is this, what's that?
I haven't seen something like this, but I think this is the first time we've gotten like it. They're on the dang boundary, so we can redraw it before they finish.
That's why? I mean, I just want to say, my takeaway from that is I'm very pleased. I was being somewhat glib at the beginning of this when I referred to the boundary process, but it's great that we're doing this now, obviously, as opposed to once it's in, so people can move in with certainty, purchase with certainty. Everything's better.
You can
So
probably
is
thank
this something that we've had come to us before? Can anyone recall?
You can probably thank the cement strike for this.
Yeah.
We have made minor, if there's a new street, for example, that affects a boundary line, we have made minor corrections to that because of the new street. But I think this is the first time we've done come to you with a brand new development and looking and making sure and about where we want to assign that development. We have had in the way back period of time, we've had new development that created overcapacity in schools, and then we did a boundary change after that, and so we heard from that process is if it's possible to make those decisions before the development is open, then that's the best way to do that.
Great. Well, kudos to everyone for tracking all of this, too. Okay, great. There's no board action required on this item tonight. It will be presented for board approval on June 6th. Okay, the next item on the agenda is monitoring report for OE 12, operational expectation policy 12, that is, for facilities. Dr. Holman.
And you'll see sort of a theme tonight with the content on the board's agenda. A lot of focus on facilities, from the program update to the capital facility plan to the adjustment of the boundaries. And so OE 12 is titled Facilities. It states that the superintendent shall assure that physical facilities support the accomplishment of the board's results policies. And tonight, this monitoring report is presented with evidence of compliance in all 9 areas that are designated within this policy. It's important to note that the reporting period of this monitoring report is September 2020 through August 2021. It's presented tonight for approval from the board.
Okay, so first, any questions from the board on anything in the monitoring report? Okay, if there are no questions, I will now entertain a motion to approve the monitoring report for operational expectations policy 12, titled Facilities, as presented, being in compliance.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Carlson, seconded by Director Stewart. Any comments? I have one, if that's all. Kind of shoehorning a compliment into this. So policy 12.9 says the superintendent may not, without board approval, acquire, encumber, or dispose of real property. Thank you for not doing that. The reason I raised this was, one of the evidence of compliance was the purchase of the cabinet property. And I wanted to commend staff for the level of process and engagement with the board. First of all, finding this property, the work that went into it. We had numerous meetings where the parcel was described to us, the process for purchasing was described to us. Just really appreciate the engagement with staff bringing the board along in this major purchase for the district. I was really pleased with that whole process. So, any other comment?
I actually just want to commend the team for at least trying to have a 6-year plan when things change as rapidly as they have over the last couple of years. And so hopefully we can get back to the point where our forecasts are a little bit less bolt from the blue to deal with.
Okay, any other comments? It has been moved by Director Carlson, seconded by Director Stewart, that the board approve the monitoring report for operational expectation 12 as compliant. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
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 Could I abstain? It's before my tenure.
Sure. Okay. And aye. Okay, the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent report.
Yeah, so I wanted to share with the board, on Friday, members of cabinet and myself attended the WASA annual awards ceremony, and we have the opportunity to nominate individuals from our school district for 2 specific awards. And I just wanted to share with the board those individuals that we recognized. One of them, well, neither of them actually were able to be there, but there was representatives from our community award. But we were able to nominate a student leader award this year, and just wanted to recognize Kai Vanderlip. Currently, he's a junior at Tesla STEM High School, and I just want to read what we submitted on his behalf for his recognition. It says, Kai Vanderlip, a junior at Nikolai Tesla STEM High School, created a project called The Day of Remembrance, Japanese Incarceration Literature for Libraries. With the 80th anniversaries of Executive Order 9066 in February 2022, Kai worked to make picture books on the Japanese incarceration available to all elementary schools in Lake Washington School District. Kai partnered with an elementary school librarian and his school's equity club to curate a list of books to support elementary schools in finding books to help explain this piece of American history. He then wrote grants to purchase 6 books each for the 33 elementary schools in Lake Washington School District. And so it was exciting to recognize Kai. He was not able to attend because he was participating in AP testing. We gave him an excused absence for that. I did receive an email from Kai genuinely thanking us for recognizing that. He wanted the board to also know that he really appreciated being recognized. He partnered with our Schools Foundation for this effort, and it's exciting that this literature is available in all of our elementary schools. At the Schools Foundation luncheon, there was a video that highlighted Kai, and if you haven't seen that, I'll make sure you have a copy of that because he's an impressive young man and took this project on and very meaningful for our schools and our students. The second award was our Community Leadership Award, and we, you think about our community and all of the different groups and individuals that make a difference for students in Lake Washington, and we landed on Mary Wilbur and the ENAP program. I see all the board nodding their heads. I think you can understand why we would recognize Mary. She was not available, and so on her behalf, Arlie Neskahi and Irene Kearns attended the luncheon and award ceremony on her behalf, and this is what we wrote in submission for Mary. It says, Mary Wilbur serves as the program administrator for the Eastside Native American Education Program, a federally funded program that assists grades K-12 Native American, Alaska Native, and American Indian students in Lake Washington, Bellevue, and North Shore school districts. ENAP provides children with programs that allow them to succeed academically and enrich their cultural lives. Mary works with a committee of parents to steer the program and content and determine the best available talents and resources to implement the program's activities. Provided services include weekly after-school activities, homework support, student advocacy, mentoring, cultural events, tribal language exploration, and more. And so it was our great honor to recognize both Kai and Mary at this award ceremony on Friday. And I thought I would share that with the board because, as you know, we have many, many amazing people within our school district, and we got to recognize 2 on Friday.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Holman. The next item on the agenda is Public and Community Affairs. Director Bleasner is is excused tonight, and so we don't have anything for her to report. The next item that follows that is the equity update. Oh, sorry. Yes, I was stole my thunder. Okay. So first, Director Stewart, do you have anything to report for Public and Community Affairs?
Just wanted to let you know that I attended the YES breakfast last week. It was attended by virtually every shaker and mover in our district and beyond. And it was great to see the effort that has been made on our behalf, on our students' behalf, for their mental and emotional well-being. And it just drives home the need for social emotional learning and the basis for it that some people are trying to misinterpret, but they do a great job.
Great. Thank you, Director Stewart. Thank you for getting my attention, too. After Public and Community Affairs, the next item on our agenda is Equity Update. And I'm actually going to put Director Choi in the spot real quick here. Two things, I think, tying together for both our Equity Update and the Public Community Affairs. And I wanted to give Director Choi, who's been really spearheading this, the opportunity to talk about is the board has created a student rep position to the board. Well, how about this? Director Choi, could you talk a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, we are interested in having more student voice representation on our board. We've created a process for trying to recruit two student representatives from our high schools. The application is available right now to apply for the next school year, and I believe you can apply through the end of this week. And so hopefully we will get lots of interested applicants and we'll be able to select a couple of students.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is board member comments. Does anyone have any additional comments for tonight? Director Stewart?
Yes, I made my living writing and understand and have utilized loopholes before. I'm hoping that the accidental creation of the loophole between covering costs and market rate doesn't backfire on us or jump up and bite us in the backside 5 years from now when all of us are maybe no longer here and no one can recall why that was disparate. That was my reasoning for trying to get it equal, not to be a pain in the backside, but to make sure that there'd be no wiggle room 5-10 years down the road. It's a very important program. I want to thank the staff for recognizing the importance of the program. I want to thank them for making the adjustment. I think our families will appreciate it, and I think, to be quite frank, it's one of those recruiting tools for new teachers that ought to be replicated across the district, but that's another battle.
Thank you, Director Stewart. Any other board member comment tonight? Director Carlson?
I've actually just got a follow-up, and I want to make sure that we're continuing to move forward, because with the acknowledgement of Mary Wilbur, I'd like to I haven't seen any concrete timelines on the land acknowledgement, and so I'm hoping that we can, I'm hoping I have not dropped the ball on this, but if it's not me, I would like to see some schedule for connecting with the tribes for their input.
I'll provide a follow-up this week for the board. I know we've been working to,
That's all right. Yeah.
yep.
Thank you, Dr. Carlson. Any other board member comment for tonight? No? Okay, great. All right, thank you, everyone. The board plans to meet again on June 6th, 5 p.m. study session, followed by a board meeting here at 7 p.m., both here at the Resource Center, and then our meeting after that is June 27, 5 p.m., followed by a board meeting at 7 p.m. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the May 23rd, 2022 board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Choi, seconded by Director Carlson, that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries, meeting is adjourned.